Welcome back to CBS Detroit. So we're talking about mental health today and also making sure that you prioritize your kids' mental health as they head back to the classroom. It's a big deal, especially during these times. Joining us again to tell us more about how you can help your student this school year is Alisha Coleman. So good morning to you and thank you again for joining us.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you. So we've been talking about this quite a bit. Why is it so important that we make sure we have these conversations about mental health as it pertains to kids?
Because we want to promote overall well-being. So when it comes to our kids and going back to school, not only do we want to prioritize, back to school clothes, supplies, and things like that, we also want to promote their mental health. Because, going back to school can be overwhelming. The thoughts of going back can be overwhelming, especially if you're transitioning from elementary to middle to high school to college, and if you're going into your senior year. Thoughts of that can be overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, so many boys and girls deal with the back to school jitters. What can parents do right now, as some folks are like a couple of weeks out still? I know we've got 10 days in my house before my oldest heads back to school, a few more weeks for the others. What should I be doing as a parent to try to kind of prepare them right now?
So it's important for us to start the conversation because we want to be proactive and not reactive. So starting to have those conversations so start with, the positive side of it. Well, what are you excited for? Then once you say that, well, what are some stressors you might face, or what are some situations that might trigger anxiety? What are you hopeful for? So just asking, just having those conversations with your kids.
And what are some ways also that parents can make sure that they start that conversation and keep it going so that if students get to a place where they don't necessarily feel okay, they are open to talking about it?
So it goes back to creating that safe space like we talked about before. And you start that because we tend to tell people how to feel about something, and we can't tell a person how to feel about a situation. So definitely not invalidating how they feel. So we have to acknowledge how they feel, validate it, and be supportive. So creating that safe space so they want to come to us and talk about things.
I know, especially this time of year, so many parents are so focused on like crossing off that to-do list, right? Like, yes. What do I have? What do I need? What kind of supplies do I still have to get? And you lose focus on making sure that your child feels emotionally ready to head back to the classroom.
Yes, so reprioritizing that list. And at the top of that list, we need to add mental health. Because again, the thought of going back to school can be overwhelming. Say your kid had a situation last school semester, maybe they were being bullied or something. What's the safety plan for this year? How are you going to keep your kids safe? So having these conversations.
I'm also wondering too, if you think, is it important to go ahead and talk to school leaders and administrators, kind of set your child up for success? Like maybe if they're worried about homework or worried about a certain teacher, kind of take that like proactive approach.
Absolutely, because again, it's important to be proactive and not reactive. And a lot of schools now have therapists within the schools, so that's a good resource as well.
Any signs to watch out for as far as changes in behavior or mood that could be a sign that something could be wrong once they head back?
Absolutely. So isolation, lack of concentration, anger issues, just any maladaptive behaviors you start to see.
All right, all makes sense. Thank you so much. Such great tips. We appreciate it. We're already thinking back to school. It's hard to believe. Thank you so much.